What is going on, guys, and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to be breaking down why Lone Druid has a 49.37% win rate. Pretty much one of the worst heroes in the current meta right now as a carry and as a mid. It feels really bad to play this hero. Honestly, he's not nearly as strong as he used to be. He's been nerfed quite heavily, and these nerfs include movement speed nerfs to the bear. The bear procs Jingu stacks against Monkey King, so that matchup is pretty much unplayable. The cooldown on the bear has also increased, and it goes back to normal at max level, so it'll take you a while, but it's quite significant. So if you lose the bear in the early game, you're going to be a lot more punished. It really sucks because a lot of people put a lot of priority on the bear early on. So if you do lose it and you end up feeding a bear and it does go on cooldown, it's going to feel really bad. So I highly recommend you guys play safe if you guys are going to be playing Lone Druid, and make sure you're not feeding away these bears because it is going to cost you a lot more than it did before. And also nerfs to Spirit Link lifesteal has also been decreased. So a lot of nerfs coming the way of Lone Druid. This hero was one of the strongest heroes in Dota, pretty much stayed at the top of win rates for a really long time, so it was necessary for this hero to be nerfed. It was really strong, and it really felt almost impossible to take this hero down unless all 5 heroes were committing onto the hero, and even building items like Spirit Vessel and such were not very good against the hero because you could just dispel it with your shard. But I'm going to be breaking down some of the things you guys could be doing on the Lone Druid. First of all, you got to be playing it into the right matchups. I think the hero can still win a few games here and there. I just think you're going to be playing at a very heavy disadvantage with heroes like Zeus in the meta and Slardar and Clinks. You're going to be struggling quite heavily because this hero will struggle. Even though you're super tanky and you have a ton of armor, it's really difficult to take all that heavy physical damage coming in from Clinks, especially when it's a game where there's Clinks and Slardar on the same team. It can be very difficult and you will get bursted from time to time, so you need to tank up. First of all, let's talk about the typical item build on Lone Druid nowadays. It's still phase boots, diffusal, and then you go for harpoon, basher, AC. You could go back for deso, you can get a Scotty, and you still get your wraith bands at 25 minutes. I tend to get the bracers when it's a really heavy game. When I don't really need that armor and I'm facing up against a lot of magical damage, I tend to go for the bracers, or maybe mix them up, get a few wraith bands and a few bracers and kind of mix it up like that, because it is pretty beneficial for you to be a lot tankier. This hero just doesn't feel nearly as tanky as he was before, so tanking up with bracers is always going to be a very situational option, but you always have that and you're going to be able to do a lot better in games like that. But if you do need the armor, you go for max wraith bands and you're going to be doing quite well with that. So let's talk about some of the matchups he is good up against and bad up against. So you're typically good up against heroes like Puck, Mars, Anti-Mage, Faceless Void. These heroes you're pretty good against. They are kind of popular in the meta. Heroes like Faceless Void and Anti-Mage are kind of popular right now, and I do see them from time to time, so you are going to be doing very well against those, especially with the wraith bands. And if you get your ultimate, it's going to be very difficult for the Faceless Void to bring you down inside the chrono, and that's always going to be very nice. And the Anti-Mage never wants to man fight you, especially when you have that diffusal basher. He's going to run out of mana pretty quickly, and if you have harpoon, it's going to be very nice, and the hero just doesn't do very well against you. But the bad matchups are Monkey King, Sven, Pangolier, Naga, Razor. You could also put Lifestealer in there. These are very popular heroes in the meta. If you see a Monkey King getting picked, it's going to be a very brutal game for you. I've been playing this matchup quite significantly right now because a lot of people tend to be picking Monkey King, and they tend to be picking it last. I will usually pick Lone Druid in the last pick, but I tend to go up against more Monkey Kings more often than not, and it's just such a difficult matchup because before you used to only proc Jingu on the main hero, but now that you proc Jingu on the bear, it's going to be so difficult for you to bring down the Monkey King unless he's just an absolute buffoon and doesn't know what he's doing. He's just going to have infinite regen and infinite Jingu pretty much off the bear, and he's going to get a lot better trades than you will ever be. Even though you are out farming the hero, you're not going to be doing very well against him, and if you end up going items like Mask of Madness, it's just going to be really rough for you. So if you do see a Monkey King on the enemy team, I highly don't recommend you guys to be playing the Lone Druid. It's pretty much one of the worst matchups right now, if not the worst matchup, and heroes like Viper and Huskar are always going to be good up against Lone Druid, so I also don't recommend you guys to play those matchups. It's just brutal. You're putting yourself in a really bad situation, and it's not going to be very enjoyable as Lone Druid doesn't farm nearly as fast as he did before. Pretty much whatever he was good at before, he's not good at now. He's still good at pushing towers and such, but everything he was really good at got nerfed, so it feels really bad to play this hero. Hopefully in the next patch he does get a buff so we can start seeing Lone Druid again. A lot of you guys are really big fans of Lone Druid. It is one of my most played heroes, so I definitely enjoy it quite a bit, and I haven't been able to play it as much as I want to. Now I pretty much have to pick it into perfect Lone Druid games in order to have a really strong chance of actually winning the game and not putting myself at such a terrible disadvantage. and preferably play it from the mid lane. When you're playing carry Lone Druid, you're kind of all in on the hero, and honestly I don't feel that great about it. I think playing mid Lone Druid is a lot better. You know your matchup, and if you're going to be playing against a melee hero or heroes like Puck, you're going to have a really good time. You're going to get that farm up, you're going to be able to pressure the side lanes a lot faster, and you're going to hit those key timings. But if you do get shut down in the laning phase, it can be very difficult for you to make these key rotations, and you're not going to be able to hit those item timings that are super crucial on the hero. Let me know in the comment section below what do you guys think about the current version of Lone Druid. I definitely think he's very underpowered. I think the hero can still win games, but very situationally, if you're playing into the right games, you will still see some success on the hero. But other than that, the hero, you shouldn't be picking it as much. You should kind of keep this hero locked away until it gets buffed, and then you can kind of play it again. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. If you guys learned something, consider subscribing and joining the Dota Chronicles community. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.